I would like to introduce you to a new type of assignment that we will be doing in class. We'll have about somewhere between 4 and 6 of these throughout the semester. These are computer activities. This will allow us to work with larger data sets that might be harder to work with in a homework assignment or a classroom environment. One of the student learning outcomes for our course is that you will learn how to use a statistical package. I've chosen a statistical package called StatCrunch. It's designed for students learning elementary statistics, so I think it's good for us. When you signed on to my Stat Lab, your account comes with a StatCrunch account, so this isn't anything else you need to buy. So once you've signed on to my Stat Lab, you have access to StatCrunch. One of the things that StatCrunch allows us to do is to share data sets that we find with groups of people. And since you, my class, are a group of people that I'd like to share data with, we're going to go to my group and we'll log in through there. And I'd like you to join my group. And that way, any data sets that I put into this page, you will have access to when you log in. And so I'm going to go to that now. I need to sign in. Like I said, I have a My Stat Lab account, so I'm going to sign in with that. So once I'm signed in, there's some things we can look at. Oh, I guess it didn't go to our group. Okay, so let's find the group. I'm going to go to My StatCrunch and go to Groups. I have my group, this group added. You will need to find the group using the group ID. So actually, let's explore and find our group. In fact, so I went to Explore, I went to Group. Let's search. Let's just search my name. That's why I put my name in the name of the group. We are Fall 2019, so go to that one. It's the one that has the cat and the snake on it. We'll learn about that later. And so we can go to that group. Now, I have a link here to leave the group, which you'll probably see is something like this, but you'll want to join the group. You want to click this. This is something I actually exited my group. It turns out I lost this data set when that happened, so StatCrunch is not making it easy for me to record this video. So we have the data. Now, in your assignment, what I'm going to have you do is get to this point, and I have instructions on how to do that. And the data set that I've given you is all 77 serials that were in the serials data. I only gave you 25 to play with for your posters, but you get all 77 now. It's called the serial data. It's got a picture of Fruit Loops on it. And my goal here is that you learn how to log into StatCrunch, that you find the appropriate data set for the assignment in StatCrunch, and we're almost there. And then we'll talk in week 2 about two-way tables, and so we're going to create a two-way table from the serials data. Now, the two-way table that I want you to do is to use the population that the serials are targeted on the rows and the shelf that the serials are stocked on in the columns. I'm going to demonstrate something else so that you have something to figure out for yourself. Okay, so we go to the data set. If I click on it, it takes a little while to load. And we can see here that these are the columns that you learned about in the data table that we had. We've got name, manufacturer, target. We've got the quantitative variables here. We've got the categorical variables here. And to the left, quantitative to the right. And we've also got a lot of stuff. There's applets, and there's going to be a lot of terminology that we don't know yet. Edit, that's your standard edit, kind of undo, redo sort of thing. Data, there's some interesting stuff to do with data. One of the things that will happen is when I share a data set with the group, you click on it, you probably want to save it to your own account so that whatever work you do gets saved. Otherwise, when you log out, you lose any work that you do. So you can do that using the save. I think when you click on it, it just saves. It'll just save to your data, and I'll show you where to. In fact, we can go and find that under my StatCrunch. You can find my data. You'll see I have a whole bunch of data, including the serials data, so I don't want to save a copy myself. So that here. So we're not going to deal with anything in this data set. Okay, so we found the data. Like I said, we need to log into StatCrunch, find the data. Let's create a two-way table. Now, another name for two-way tables is contingency tables. So I'm going to go to Stat and Tables and find contingency table. I'm going to go with data. The with summary means that you would enter in what's going to go onto the table yourself, which is not really what you want to do. And with data means it's going to look at the data table that's back here. The with summary is something that might be useful later, that will come in handy later on in the semester. Okay, so I'm going to create a contingency table with data. Let's see. What I'd like to do is I'd like to look at the manufacturer, and I'd like to see. Let's look at how many cereals each manufacturer targets to adults and to children. Now, for us, this is all we need. Don't worry about the where. That's more advanced, and we might need to talk about that later. Don't worry about the group by, and that's more advanced. The display, what I'm seeing here is that none of the options are what we want. What I want is just the number of cereals. I want the counts. And there's an expected count, but expected is not what we want. And then the hypothesis test and confidence intervals, those are chapters we'll learn about later on. It does see, let's see if I hold the control button, maybe I can turn off hypothesis testing. And hopefully that will disappear. And then once we have what we want, we just hit compute and we get this table here. Now, for our assignments, I'd like you to document the work that you do in a Word file. So I'm going to open up Microsoft Word. You could also use Google Docs. So let's just get a blank document. You can format it however you want. If I select the table here, go to Word, I get my table. So we can see here, for example, General Mills makes 10 adult cereals, 12 child cereals, for a total of 22. When you have a table, you should have something that describes it. Let's see. This table summarizes, this table, let's go, tells us the number of cereals aimed at adults and at children for each manufacturer. So that's pretty much what you're going to do. Like I said, I hit save there. I'll cancel For you, you're going to create a two-way table. I have detailed instructions on how to create the two-way table. You'll copy your data into your report, which we've done, label it. I've asked you to create a two-way table that looks at comparing the target variable with the shelf variable. And so I've asked a question about that. And then I want you to answer an open-ended question. All questions that I ask should be answered in complete sentences. So, let me know if you have any questions. Definitely email me as we do this assignment.